All right. So welcome everyone once again. We are very pleased today to have so many people connected for the webinar. So once again, welcome you all. Before we start the event, let me just list a few brief meeting instructions. So as you may have noticed already, all your microphones are muted, but we'll have time at the end of the event for questions and answers. So in that moment, you'll be allowed to open your microphone and speak freely. Questions or comments can also be submitted in the chat that you will see next to our meeting. But please, we kindly ask you to use the chat only for questions and comments related to the presentation content. Last, please also note that the event is going to be recorded for your information. So my name is Mara Petruzzelli, and I'm Senior Officer at the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Secretariat. And as you may have understood, I will serve as a moderator for the event today. Let me say that for us, it is a great opportunity and a great pleasure as well to come together in the occasion of the launch of the Milan Pact Awards 2025, the 7th edition. As you may already know, the Milan Pact Awards are a joint initiative of the City of Milan and Fondazione Cariplo, supported by the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. As you will also hear in the presentations of today, since its launch, the Milan Pact Awards gathered more than 600 practices from the different MUFPP signatory cities. And the webinar of today is particularly important since it will basically serve to launch the new edition of the awards, but also to illustrate in detail the guidelines for cities to submit the practices. On top of this, the webinar will also be a great occasion to present the newly published MUFPP Fellowship Programme report. A report that basically aims at describing the different capacity building activities implemented within the very rich Milan Pact community. So, over the agenda of the event, please. Here is our agenda for today. As you see, a very rich one. So first, we are going to hear welcoming remarks from three keynote and very special speakers, namely Anna Scavuzzo, Vice Mayor of Milan in charge of food policy, Leonardo Carmenati, Deputy Director General at the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, and Claudia Sorlini, Vice President, Fondazione Cariplo. Next, we'll have a presentation, the MUFPP Fellowship Programme report, guided by Filippo Gavazzeni, which is, as you all know, head of the MUFPP Secretariat. Finally, Serena Duraccio, also officer at the MUFPP Secretariat, will present extensively the call for submission for the Milan Pact Award 2025. All right, in conclusion, we'll have question and answers. As already mentioned, you'll have plenty of time to solve potential doubts. You can either submit questions in the chat or raise your hand and we'll give you the word. Now, without further ado, let me now hand it over to Anna Scavuzzo, Vice Mayor of the City of Milan, for its opening remark. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Mara Petruzzelli and also to the whole Secretariat for the work until now. I'm very happy to welcome you all to this special webinar in charge in my activity of responsible for food policy here in Milan, but also in behalf of the Mayor Beppe Sala, who is the leader of the network. And today I'm very honored to have the chance to announce that the call for the submission officially now is open. And so the submission for the Milan Pact Awards 2025 can start. As Mara Petruzzelli says, this is a joint initiative of the city of Milan, Fondazione Cariplo, supported by Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. And I really appreciate the presence here together with me in this starting point of Leonardo Carmenati, and then also for the contribution of Claudia Sorlini. As we know, launched in 2016, the Milan Pact Awards are one of the most important initiatives promoted by the Milan Pact to propose and to promote action worldwide on developing sustainable food systems. And we know that our sustainable food system has to be inclusive, resilient, safe, and diverse. Urban food systems can provide healthy and affordable food to all people in a human rights-based framework. And I think it's very important to underline that the Milan Pact Awards serve as a vital platform to celebrate the most innovative and impactful initiative from our signatory cities. So first of all, thank you very much for the efforts of the entire network and of the cities one by one. They are means, these words, of facilitating the emergence of best practices. It's very useful for mayors, and it's very important to share success stories and inspiration with the whole Milan Pact community, because it's our strength. Since its launch, the Milan Pact Awards have gathered over, and Mara mentioned just before, 600 best practices from the Milanova Food Policy Pact signatory cities, a very huge library of best practices. And the Milan Pact Awards ceremonies have been held at the previous Global Forum. Maybe you remember in 2016, we were in Rome, together with FIO, in Valencia in 2017, in Tel Aviv in 2018, in Montpellier in 2019, and online during pandemic. We resist also during pandemic in 2020, and in the last edition in Rio de Janeiro in 2022. Has been very, very important, and I am very proud to announce that the Milan Pact Awards 2025 ceremony will be held here in Milan during the next MUFPP Global Forum, taking place in October 2025 from 13th to 17th. This Global Forum is very particular because it represents a special moment, and it will mark the 10th anniversary of the Milanova Food Policy Pact, celebrated in the same city where it all began. So a sort of anniversary that wants to underline the importance of the work done until now, but also to see and to go ahead for the future. In the addition to the Milan Pact Awards, today's event will also provide, and I thank Filippo Gavazzini that will be on the floor after us, provide an opportunity to learn more about the Milanova Food Policy Pact Fellowship Programme, because the report could be another useful element for us in everyday life here in our cities. Through the report, you will gain insights about the many workshops, knowledge exchanges, webinars, advocacy actions, and regional fora organized within the network all over the world. Let me thank our wide array of strategic partners all over the world that have made the fellowship program and all related activities possible. A very strong alliance, very strong alliance. And these activities were based on the best practices and learning needs that signatory cities shared in the previous edition of the Milan Pact Awards in 2022. This is why submitting practices to the awards is so important to boost our network. Another reason to participate is that the highest scoring practices for each of the 6 categories will receive a monetary prize, cash, to further disseminate the most innovative food policies. And for this, I really thank also Fondazione Cariplo, Cariplo Foundation, which is sponsoring the prizes since 2016. I would like to express, as I said before, mentioning Leonardo Carmenati, the Italian Agency for Development and Cooperation, because thanks to the strategic agreement signed with the agency, we have been able to strengthen Milan Food Policy Pact action, a very useful alliance. And once again, the success of this new awards edition will rely on the precious contributions of the entire network of our signatory cities and all the stakeholders we can have like partners in this path. And this is indeed the true value of our network. I would like to thank in particular the cities of the steering committee for the great work of involvement and promotion for the awards to engage many cities to participate and submit practices. Thanks in advance. We look forward to receive your best practices and to host all of you in Milan during the upcoming Global Forum. We are at work, and I hope we can build up together next Global Forum together with the efforts of each of us. Thank you very much, and I leave the floor back to Mara. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Anna Scavuzzo, for your thoughtful and warm welcoming remarks. I think your words really set the perfect tone for today's event. So let me now immediately pass the word to Leonardo Carmenati, Deputy Director General at the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mara, to give me the floor. Thank you. I'm very pleased to be part of this important step, another step of the Milan Pact, and today we will launch again the fellowship program. But let me say some remarks before speaking about the reason why we are here. First of all, thank you to Anna Scavuzzo, the vice manager of Milan. We met a few years ago, and I'm very pleased to see all these dots that are in your background map that are connecting different cities, and I think is a very successful history of this program. Let me thank the Vice President of the Foundation, Cariplo, Claudia Sortini, and the head of Milan Pact, Filippo Gavazzeni, and all the colleagues of the Secretariat and their dedicated work. Let me say a few words about the tough task that the cities have in their administration. Cities are very central in our vision. I'm the Deputy Director of the Italian Agency for Cooperation and Development of the Italian government, of course, and we work with different stakeholders. And cities for us are very central. They have in their agenda, in their administration, a very tough task. They have to merge different social needs between central and peripheral communities. They have tasks in terms of security, they have tasks in terms of health, they have tasks in terms of food programs, in water management. So they are in the best place to be the best partners in implementing partners in different programs in the countries where we have different needs. And I think that are the best partners in terms of capacity building. So I'm very glad to speak about today the fellowship program, that is an initiative that shows what collaboration and carefully planning can achieve. Through the 3 years agreement within the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation and the City of Milan, the fellowship program went from its co-design stage in Milan to full implementation. The report launched today highlights the effort made, the outcome achieved, and the progress seen. It provides a solid foundation for considering the future activities and initiatives. Regarding the Milan Pact Awards, participation by the MUFPP signatory cities worldwide is vital. It's not only a competition, it's more than a competition. It's allowed the recognition of good practices in all the areas of food system, including production, distribution, consumption, and recycling. That are area of a very important chain. The aim is to learn from one another and work together, as Anna Scavuzzo already said, to address shared challenges with sustainable solutions. As the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation will be part of the evaluation committee, and we are glad for that, also for this 2025 edition of the Milan Pact Awards. It will be inspiring to read through your experience and discover hidden gems of urban food system policies by reviewing the practices that the cities will submit. Of course, thanks to our 20 field offices that are especially in Africa, AGS will do its best to support signatory cities in identifying the most promising food system transformation practices to submit the Milan Pact Awards. So I'm very glad to be part of this big and international program, and I'm very proud that the leadership of this is Milan, and as an Italian city. I'd like to close by acknowledging everyone's work and commitment. Transforming food system is not easy, but initiatives like this fellowship program and Milan Pact Awards lay the groundwork to meaningful change. So thank you for your attention, and I will be pleased to follow the next intervention and the presentation of the video that will come. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you very much for those inspiring words, and more than that, for the exceptional support provided to the Pact. It is indeed great to have you here with us today to set the stage for what promises to be a great moment for the Milan Pact community as a whole. So, although Claudia Sorlini, which is Vice President of Fondazione Cariplo, unfortunately couldn't join us in person today, she has recorded a video message. So we're really excited to hear from Claudia Sorlini. So let's watch her video welcoming us to today's event.
Good morning to you. It is a pleasure for me to give my warmest welcome to the representatives of the cities attending to this important meeting. Fondazione Cariplo shares the values, contents and objectives of the ambitious program of Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. We cooperated with the city of Milan since 2014, bringing a philanthropic perspective, supporting the city in developing its urban food policy, and subsequently also in launching the Milan Pact Award. Thanks to your demanding challenge, your cities represent the most important institutional way to guarantee the realization of a correct, fair, inclusive, and sustainable food policy. You are also an example and a model of good practices around the world. Thank you very much for your work, and best wishes for your activities now and in the future.
let's move to the next presentation. In the next presentation, we'll dive more in detail into the content of today's event. And for this, as you know, our next speaker is Filippo Gavazzeni, head of the MUFPP Secretariat. And more specifically, he will guide us through the newly published MUFPP Fellowship Programme report. Let me just remind once again that the MUFPP Fellowship Programme is a comprehensive learning and capacity building program, as already mentioned by our Vice Mayor, to strengthen city officers' skills and in order to achieve, let's say, their food policy objectives. So it gathers activity from the MPA edition 2022 until the beginning of 2025. Let's now dive into this insightful session. Please, Filippo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mara. So let's deep dive a little bit about the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Fellowship Programme, which indeed has been a program that involved all the Milan Pact Secretariat and its partners in the organization of many activities to support our signatory cities. Indeed, I think some of you will remember, we launched the idea of a fellowship program initially with the steering committee, and then we presented it at the last global forum that took place in Rio de Janeiro. So in the session of the State of the Pact, we decided to exploit the learning needs acquired and the best practices acquired through the Milan Pact Awards of 2022 to build together with partners a 2 years long program in which cities can learn among each other with capacity building activities organized by the Milan Pact Secretariat and its partners. So let's move with the presentation. Everything started at the beginning of 2023 with the Milan Pact Awards retreat. So we had the pleasure to have the winning cities of the last edition of the Milan Pact Awards here in Milan to understand how to create synergies among the key best practices and the Milan Pact partners in order to exploit this knowledge for advancing together towards our shared goals. So as you can see in the map you have the different cities that we were able to involve during these 2 years, and some of these cities also took part to multiple activities. As you can see, we tried our best to involve our 6th region of the Milan Pact as much as possible. We did this thanks to the contribution, as I mentioned, with our partners. So the Milan Pact Secretariat, of course, organized some activities, but many of them were organized just with the support of the Secretariat. Here you can see the main partners. The main partners means the partners that committed to organize activities within the fellowship program with grants or with agreements with the City of Milan, and first of all the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. Within our agreement, 3 years agreement, we had a task of co-organizing together and shape overall the fellowship program. I'm very happy that also Mr. Carmenati is here today to represent the agency. But also we have the Cariplo Foundation, the Eurocities, the Mercociudades, which is the network of Southern and Central American cities. The Cities Feeding the Future initiative, that is an initiative led thanks to the advocacy action of the Milan Pact towards the World Food Programme. Of course, the the ASEAN Secretariat, the Urban Agenda for the European Union, the Red Municipios for the Agroecologia, and the Catholic University of Bandung. But apart from these partners, strong partners, we had many other partners that contributed to the development of the fellowship program. Here you have some examples. So we spread from academia and research institutions to NGOs, international and regional organizations, and also municipalities that decided to host important events and workshops. So this is possible thanks to the great contribution of the partner of the Milan Pact, and we count on your participation also in the organization of the next Global Forum. So let's move quickly because we decided to cluster the main activities that are roughly 50 activities in 5 clusters, which are advocacy, regional forum, workshops, webinars, and knowledge exchange. So as far as advocacy is concerned, the Milan Pact has been working with some partners to organize activities, for example, towards the European Union or towards the ASEAN Secretariat or the World Food Programme, to sensitize them about the important role of cities in developing food policy. This was important, for example, for policy-making purposes, in order to include the needs and also the important roles the city can play in the framework law, for example, of the European Union. And also, this was very important to unlock funds for urban food policies development that can be very important, and that are made available by this international and regional organization. So we had 8 main advocacy activities, I would say, in 4 regions, namely Europe, Africa, South America, and Asia Pacific, with around 100 cities involved. Let's move to to talk about the organization of regional fora. So thanks to the city of Dakar, Bordeaux, Warsaw, Addis Ababa, and Bangkok, we had the opportunity to involve around 200 officers to talk and discuss about the main challenges of the different regions. As you know, we are facilitating the organization of this regional forum because cities in the same context are facing similar challenging, and they might contribute to develop similar solutions. Another topic that we decided to report in the fellowship program, it's the knowledge exchange, which are collaborative events and platforms where cities can share insights, experiences, and best practices on specific theme of urban food policies. So we had 5 also in different regions. Let me say that also here we had around 200 officers involved from 130 cities. And lastly, the last cluster of activities were the workshops. So these are more extensive activities that we organize in the different regions on to support cities to develop specific strategies for addressing food-related challenges in urban areas. So we had 13 workshops. Let me mention just 2 of them, which are the 1-week workshop in which the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation and the Italian Ministry for Foreign Affairs and the ASEAN Secretariat were deeply involved to support Asia Pacific cities to develop school meals program in their cities. But let me also mention the important work with the World Food Programme and the School Meal Coalition that led to the organization of the workshop in Copenhagen that was targeting the issue of sustainable and healthy procurement for school canteens. And lastly, let me just recall all the webinar series that we have organized that are worldwide webinar series, also regional series, for example, a European regional series, a South America regional series, and an African one. About the global, we just met 1 week ago for the World Water Day, and we presented an important report developed with the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, that is Water and Food System, that is, together with the school meals report and wholesale markets report, 3 very important assets that cities can exploit to achieve their food policy goals. Let me conclude by the impact. So thanks to the fellowship program, we had the opportunity to involve 2,500 officers with an important boost of the activities, capacity building activities that the Milan Pact organized, mostly in Europe, in South America, and in Asia Pacific. Let me conclude by sharing with you the QR code of the report, and by saying that before leaving the floor to Serena, that will present you the new edition of the Milan Pact Awards, how is important and why is important to submit practices, because of course, apart from winning the award of the special mention, by participating to the Milan Pact Awards, you will enrich the community with your best practices, but also you will share your learning needs, and therefore the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Secretariat, along with their partners, is able to support you by organizing the activities as I just mentioned. So let me conclude by thanking once again the partners that make this possible, and all the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact Secretariat team that made also these activities possible, including the release of this report that we are presenting you today. So thank you very much for your attention. Mara, back to you.
Thank you very much, Filippo. I think you really gave a taste of the impressive amount of activities that have been conducted. And for this reason, I also really encourage all cities and stakeholders to download the report and really read it, going through the different activities implemented. Let me also say that our colleague has included the link to the report in the chat, so you can also use that one to access the document. So our next and last presentation is a core one. It's all going to be about the opening of the Milan Pact Awards 2025 call, and the presentation will basically cover the main information of the Pact Awards, along with detailed guidelines for cities on how to submit their best practices. So let's welcome on the virtual stage Serena Duraccio, officer at the MUFPP Secretariat. Serena, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mara, and good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Thanks again for joining us. So we have come to the, as Mara was saying, to the core of this webinar today. So let's start with recapping a little bit what are the Milan Pact Awards for all those of you who have recently joined the Milan Pact. So basically, as you may know, one of the most important goals of the Milan Pact is to stimulate the exchange of practices among signatory cities. And that's why in 2016, the city of Milan and Fondazione Cariplo launched this award to recognize the most innovative and creative efforts of our cities, but also to monitor how our cities are improving since they joined the pact. you will see this is kind of a recap of the 6 editions that we had. So from 2016 to 2022, where we had the last edition. And so up until now, we have gathered more than 600 practices. And this is on the slide, you can see kind of the distribution that we have among the different MUFPP categories. And well, we hope to enrich further this library of knowledge that we have. So Milan Pact Awards 2025. So here you can see some pictures from the previous MPA ceremony. But as I was saying, this is the 7th edition of the awards, and is a very important one, as it's the first one in 3 years. The last one was in 2022, and so we have many more signatory cities to the pact, and we know that you are also eager to share your best practices. And of course, we encourage all of you to participate. So as I was saying, and also as the Vice Mayor mentioned, the MPA ceremony will happen during the Global Forum, which will happen between 14 and 16 of October here in Milan. And of course, we hope to have everyone here. So let's go a bit more in detail now, more on the technical part and how you can submit practices and what are the documents needed. So here on the slide, you can see the call for submission, which is basically a guideline that we will provide you to understand how you can submit your best practices. And it's basically gonna tell you everything that I'm gonna tell you right now, but it's just a document for you to consult once you are preparing your practices. Then the second document is the submission form, which is the main document that you will need. You will need to fill out one submission form per practice that you are going to submit, and each city can submit up to 3 practices. So please bear in mind that these 3 practices can be submitted and touch different topics, so can be related to different MUFPP categories. You don't have to choose just one. It's really upon your choice. And then the last document that we'll need to submit is the letter of the mayor, stating basically the practices that you are submitting, and you will need just to send one letter. Also, bear in mind that all documents are provided in English, French, and Spanish as main languages of the Milan Pact. So now this is kind of a timeline at the moment. So today is the launch of the Milan Pact Awards, and then we will have a first deadline, which we call early bird submission. For those of you that have already participated in the 2022 edition already know, but basically the Secretariat will offer cities the possibility to send in their practices by the 1st of May and to receive feedback from the MUFPP Secretariat in order to improve your practices. And then you will have time to evaluate our feedback and understand how you want to improve it and resubmit for the final submission, which is the 31st of May. Let me mention also that if you decide, of course, the early bird submission is voluntary, so it's really up on you. It's not compulsory. And if you decide to submit your practices for support, basically from the Secretariat, you will not need to submit the letter of the mayor at this stage. So it will just be needed at the end for the final submission. Please, in the meantime, at the end of this presentation, we will have a dedicated Q&A session. So if you have any questions and if anything is unclear, take your time at the end of this presentation to ask us questions. And then final step of, as I was saying, is the MPA ceremony, which will happen during the Global Forum and will happen on 15 October. So let's now go more on detail about the submission form, which, as I was saying, is the core document that you will need. So first of all, you will find some very basic information on your city and contact person. So here, please bear in mind that not necessarily the person filling in the form should be the focal point. So it can be either be the focal point or a relevant person that is in charge of the initiative of the practice that you are submitting. Then section B is quite straightforward. Also, you will need to provide the title and a subtitle of the practice along with social media account and link or photos, videos or photos of your practice. What is important to mention, as you will see, you have a number of characters that you have to oblige to. So please bear in mind also when filling in the rest of the form. And then you will find in the section C, you will see that there is like the mandatory documents that you have to provide. So the letter of the mayor, as I was mentioning before, and photos and picture, which we will use for dissemination purposes. Okay, let's now move to the section 2. So here you will need to highlight the primary recommended action related to the practice you are submitting. So you must select just one recommended action, which will automatically, as you can see from the photo, link to the category of the pact. So in doing this, we highly, of course, suggest to use the MUFPP framework for action. So the Milan Pact text, as you will see from our website, is translated not just in French and Spanish, but also in many other languages, in Portuguese, Indonesian. So you will find many translations, and this is really useful to understand the proper category for your practice. You will see there are numbers here on the form, so it's very straightforward, and really take your time and go through the Milan Pact text to understand the best recommended action to indicate. Then the following section, you will need to provide the description of your practice. So you will need to highlight what's the context, the activities that you are carrying out, what are the needs, and also, really important, which is the role of the municipality. We remind you that the municipality not necessarily needs to be the initiator of the practice, but it has to have some role within the practice itself. So all this information that I'm telling you, you will find it in the form and in the guideline, in the call for submission. So don't worry, but this is just to give you some tips on how to better present your practice. And here, as I was saying before, you have a maximum number of characters that should be taken into account. So please bear in mind also this aspect. And then you will have the section on the status of the practice. So what matters is that the practice should already be in place. It can also be already concluded, that's fine. And also you can, for cities that have been part of the pact for a long time, you can also submit a practice that you have already submitted in the past. That's totally fine. You will give us an update on the status of the practice. Okay. I think we can go on the next section, which is related to the actors and stakeholders that are involved in the practice. So quite straightforward. You have a table you will need to highlight depending on the type of stakeholder, how many stakeholders, and what are basically the stakeholder, the actors that you have involved in your practice, and then the budget. So make sure to indicate the budget in euro, and also to indicate which is the source of funding. So if it's totally funded from the municipality, if you have some kind of contribution from international organization, regional bodies, and so on. Okay, so this gives kind of an overview around the practice that you are submitting. Now it's on the third section is dedicated to the awards criteria. So basically, this is the section that the evaluation committee will take into account. So first of all, you will find what are the scores and related descriptions. So each criteria, we have 3 criteria, will be scored from 0 to 5. And here you can find, as I was saying, the different description for the scores. Then we will now move to the criteria. So first of all, we have innovation. So as I was saying, we have 3 criteria. First one, innovation, and here in this section, you will see you have again a maximum of 1,500 characters that you can write, and you have to highlight why your practice is innovative, so why it stands out from the others. So of course, in these 3 sections, you have to try and explain as much as you can the real power and the real what stands your practice from the others. So here you have to indicate, for example, why your practice might be a first experience of its kind in a specific topic or in a specific area. So here you will need to highlight the innovative and disruptive aspect of your practice. On the next one, we have the impact. So you have to highlight the impact that your practice have following different aspects, different scale. So on a social level, on an environmental level, and economic level. So mentioning, for example, reference to the inclusion of vulnerable groups, or taking into account the financial aspect and the sustainability aspect of it, and also on environmental side, for example, in terms of GHG emissions and so on. Again, all this information will be in the description, and also on the impact part, we highly suggest to refer to the MUFPP monitoring framework with the 44 indicators that, as you might know, are linked to the 37 recommended actions. So this is another important point to bear in mind. And then last but not least, we have our final criterion, which is inclusion. And so here you really need to highlight the holistic approach of your practice. And here you have some indication on things that you should highlight. So for example, food system fields of action. So here really, if you are indecisive about which should be the prominent recommended action or prominent category to mention in the part that we saw before, here is the part where you can highlight the inclusion, that the aspect of touching upon different MUFPP categories. But also you have to highlight the broad range of actors and stakeholders that are involved in your practice. So for example, the inclusion of different municipal departments or private sector or agencies. And then last but not least, the territorial inclusion. And so how you refer and highlight the multi-level governance of your practice. So if there is any connection with the district, regional, national level, and so on. All these criteria should have at least a maximum of 1,500 characters. So the PDF that we will provide you basically will tell you once you should stop writing. So it's quite easy. And then final part, we have the challenges and learning needs, which is this. Let me mention that this section will not be evaluated by the evaluation committee, but it's just for us, for the MUFPP Secretariat, to understand what are your learning needs and to create further exchange opportunities, for example, like the fellowship program that we have done over the last years. So this part is just for internal use from the MUFPP Secretariat. Okay, and now last two slides. So as we were saying, we will have an international evaluation committee that will assess all the practices the cities will share. We will have 3 judges per each category that will assess basically your submission. And then last part, which I guess is also kind of the most interesting part. We have reintroduced in this edition the monetary prize. So we will have 6 winning cities, 1 per each category, and each winner will get 20,000 euros. And upon decision of the city, so the city will be free to choose among like how to best use those money, either to develop further the practice or, for example, to organize a bilateral exchange with other MUFPP cities. Of course, along with with the winning cities, we will have also 3 special mentions, as for the past, for each category. Okay, I think that's all from my side. I will give the floor back to Mara for the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. I think cities now have a very clear understanding on what to expect from the MPA, and they also gained insights about the timeline, the content of the call, as well as on the documents that will need to be submitted. So let me say that before moving to the Q&A session, we would like to take a group picture, because it's always nice to have some memory of those very special moments within the Milan Pact community. So I will invite all the ones wishing to switch on the camera to do so. We'll wait a few minutes for everyone wishing to do so to switch on the camera, and then we'll take a few pictures. All right, I see many cameras on now. That's very nice. All right. I see smiles and happy faces, so that's also good. We're taking the picture now, so 1, 2, 3. Done. Okay, that's great. As well. So let's now move to the questions and answers. The webinar of today is really meant for all of you having questions, doubts, or curiosity on the awards and on the rest of today's content to advance those. So for your questions, please feel free either to raise your hand and we'll give you the word, or to write and submit them in the chat. The chat symbol is in most of the cases on the top bar of your window, so you should easily recognize it and see it. So I immediately see a first hand raise. So just let me give the floor to Shaima Yaradat for the question. Your microphone is now enabled, so you can freely switch it on.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Shaima Yaradat. I'm from a Greater Urban Municipality, Jordan. On behalf of my colleague, Engineer Rabia, and behalf of the Greater Urban Municipality, I'm joining this meeting today. Thank you very much for this fruitful webinar. I think everything is clear. And also, we all have the pleasure to be part of MUFPP. We recently joined this pact, and we are it's our pleasure to be part of this pact. And I think most of the questions raised during the webinar is already answered, especially from the last presentation. Just two questions. First question related to the what is the benefits that we could gain from the early bird submission, which will be the first submission. Could we be able to edit our submission for the award? The next question, the videos that should be support the submission. I think most of our videos will be in Arabic, but in taking in consideration that these videos will be translated in English in words during the video. Is it okay for this part to be translated? And the final thing, I think just these two questions. Thank you very much for your efforts, and we will be happy to have this experience with you, with other cities' previous experience, and we will be very, very happy to have these new synergies and these new fields related to food protection and through the urban sustainability throughout the world. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for your question. We are sure all questions will be useful also for many other cities. So once again, thank you for that. I'll pass the word to Serena for address both of them.
Yep. Thank you so much for the question. Going from the video, of course, if you have a video that has also English subtitle, that's fine. The videos could help the evaluation committee to understand more about your practice, so to better score it. At the same time, we will use it if we have to use it for dissemination purpose, what we would suggest is to have at least English subtitles so that everyone could really understand your practice. And of course, as I was mentioning before, you not necessarily need to send us a video. You can send us at least one photo, which is mandatory, and then it's really up to you if you want to share more. Then regarding the early bird submission, so yes, as you were saying, is that the aim of the early bird submissions? So you send us your submission form completed, and we will go through it and try to highlight and understand how you can improve it. When I say we, I mean the MUFPP Secretariat. So we will give you some tips and some suggestions on how to better maybe phrase a particular part of the section or of the form, or how to highlight a specific aspect. So you will then receive back the form from us, and you will have time to go through our tips, notes, and suggestions, and then resubmit it again for the final evaluation. I hope this is clear.
Thank you, Serena. That was indeed very clear. Yeah. was also appreciated. So let's now move to the second hand raise. Please, before posing your questions, it would be nice if you can also introduce and specify the city from which you're from, so that we, the whole PACT community will be aware of it. So please, Maria, the floor is yours. I think, Maria, your microphone is switched off, so we cannot hear you. Okay, in the meanwhile, if you can try to switch it on, sorry, I'll address a question that we have received in the chat. Pedro Enrique is asking where will the ceremony of the MPA will take place. And as Serena mentioned, the ceremony will take place during the MUFPP Global Forum in Milan from the 14th to the 16th of October 2025. So mid-October, during the Global Forum of the MUFPP. In the meanwhile, I see, Maria, that you are not able to unmute yourself. So maybe what you can do is you can write your question in the chat and we can address it. Yeah, that sounds good to you. Okay, great. I see in the chat we have an additional question from Madeleine Cost from Brussels. Where the Eurocities team sits. She just greets the presentation and found it useful, also in line with the Eurocity partnership. So that's great to hear. Thank you, Madeleine. Yeah. Okay, I see additional questions coming. So Nele Brewayes, sorry if I mispronounce the names, but that's the best I can do, from Bruges in Belgium, is asking whether it is possible to submit one application with two cities that are collaborating on the same practice. And for this question, I'll pass the word to Serena once again.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. So yeah, the practice should be submitted by the city, just one city, because you will need also to as I was saying, attach a letter from your mayor. You can decide with the other city how you want to split this, in the sense that both of you, if you are both part of the Milan Pact, can submit the same practice. Of course, I wouldn't suggest it, but the practice should be from one city. So you can do a joint submission. But of course, you can mention this part, like you can mention the other city that is participating in the stakeholders and actors involved and in the inclusion criterion.
All right, thank you. We have an additional question from Sukhwinder Singh that basically mentions that they have different departments other than the municipality. So in that case is the Food Safety Administration with the government of Chandigarh in India. So he or she asks if it is compulsory to have a major certificate. Serena, over to you.
Yes, as I was saying before, the letter of the mayor is compulsory. So without that one, we cannot take into consideration your practice. However, as I was saying, the municipality not necessarily needs to be the initiator of that practice. The important is that it has some kind of role, and of course the letter of the mayor has this significance, has to restate the role of the municipality.
All right, and we have a similar question somehow connected with this from Maria from Barcelona. She mentioned that the project, she asks if the project presented must be executed by the city council or if it is possible to have it promoted by a local entity. Please, Serena.
Yeah. So as I was saying, it can be initiated by different actors. The important part is that the municipality should contribute.
Okay, I also see in the meantime that people are thanking Serena for the answer, so it means they were effective and useful. That's great to hear. We have an additional question from Diane Curitiba. He or she would like to know if the same initiative can be entered in different categories. Please, Serena.
Yeah. So as you will have, you have 3 chances, basically, to submit your best practice. I wouldn't suggest to do so. So yeah, if you have to highlight different categories, you will do it in the inclusion criterion. So basically, highlight, choose the category that best, like the primary category that best fits your practice, and then if it has some kind of impact on the other ones, you will mention in the different section. So no, you don't have to submit the same practice more than once. It doesn't. It's a pity for you. You will have 3 chances, so it's better to highlight different practices that you have ongoing.
Thank you, Serena. I don't see any additional questions in the chat. Is there anyone else still needing to pose questions or doubts? All right. It seems everything was very clear. And okay, yeah, I see now a hand raised. So please, before your question, please specify the city you are from so that we can all know it. All right, your microphone can now be enabled. So please, Sukhwinder Singh, the floor is yours.
Hello. Yes, thanks. And really, it's in a very good platform where we can participate, and really, it's a worth-moving platform. So my earlier question was related to the mayor's certification. So the certificate from the mayor. Basically, as I told you that we have a different department in Chandigarh in India. We have a separate department, Food Safety Administration, that works under the state government. And though there is a municipality, but municipality is having a different department. Their working is totally different than ours. Sorry. So my submission is there any way that instead of getting a certification from mayor, can we take a certification from our head of the department, that is Secretary Health? Is it possible? Basically, municipality is having a mayor. Yes, that is fine. But they have a separate enforcement agencies, which are working in the field of, you can say, sanitation, hygiene, and all those things. But we are from the Food Safety Administration. We are looking after the food safety part of the city Chandigarh, and we are working very hard over here. And earlier also in 2022, we participated in the Milan award also. So we are one of the top contributor also in that time. That time we got a certification from mayor, but this time it is a little bit difficult. So is it possible? Is there any exemption from for us or not? No.
Unfortunately, now I'll pass the word to Serena, but I'm afraid that what she has said before still holds, in the sense that it's not really possible to make exceptions on this. But please, Serena, feel free to add anything. Yeah.
Let me take this. So, well, we understand the situation and the complexity, let's say, of the practice can be highlighted, let's say, in the inclusion section and also in the partners involved section. However, the letter of the mayor or of the commissioner, in your case, would be a letter addressed directly to the evaluation committee. So it should be a letter coming from the highest authority from the municipality. So we provide a template, but maybe we can work on a different wording, let's say, of the letter, if this might be helpful for you. But we can discuss this bilaterally, of course.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think at the moment there are no additional questions. There was a point raised on the chat whether after the early submission on May the 1st, it would be possible for City to revise or withdraw the project submitted. And as Serena mentioned, yes, this is indeed an opportunity. So it's really up to you to decide how to act on that. So having said that, let me finally thank you all for your rich and very vital participation to the webinar of today. It has been a great pleasure to see so many faces here today and to hear about your interest in participating to the MPA 2025. In this respect, we really hope to see many practices submitted from the different cities of the Milan Pact community around the world. And of course, we remain available from now on for any questions, doubts, or support you may need from our side. So thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, night, whatever it is in your part of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.